pilot flying J. And if you see like the bottom on the left, a bit dark, but the last record at the bottom says rest break, Williamsburg, Kentucky. So that's where I am. And you see the break started at 12:38, and yeah, I need like 3 more minutes to make it you know, official 30-minute break, so it will give me more driving hours. So everything's cool. I'm moving. Today's Sunday, very nice weather. I'm driving with full air conditioning on. Yeah, one thing I noticed is that the first sign of trouble. See that gauge right on top of the scale? I still didn't calibrate the scale. One of these days. So I'm driving with a pusher. See, that's the pusher, right? And I kind of like equalize them with the suspension. But this thing over here, I noticed it was showing 5, right? Like the needle was at 5, like restriction, but the maximum is 20, right? And then when I start climbing hills, you know, with like 1500 RPM, I see it was hitting 10, and then it started hitting even like 11, you know. And I never had this gauge before, so I guess that's not good. So I'm guessing 20, like the bottom and the right, that's like full restriction. So I guess I'll have to change this once it start hitting, I don't know, maybe 15, you know, 15 over there on the right, that's like 75% restriction. But for now it's only hitting 50%, and not all the time, but only on land hills. Okay, what do we have there? 28 minutes 33 seconds. Okay, 2 more minutes, and I wanted to show you guys what I changed on the load. And so why are we using the pusher? Because I had like 48,000 pounds in here, and you cannot, like, if you move this back, it'll actually increase. Oh yeah, I had 18,000 on the front, and I had 48,000 over here. You know, the way it sits now, you see just a little bit off center. That's where the kingpin is, over there, right? And this is the center, just like, I don't know, 3 inches forward. And so what do? So basically, if I didn't have a pusher, I would be able to do this load, you know. So these things, you see, like, who would have thought that a 64,400 pound load would overload the truck? But of course, why? Because there's only 2 points of contact, and one is over here, and it's all massive steel. So the whole weight sits here and here, right? And yesterday, you know, I had different chain setup, right? This one was much further away over here, and I had another chain in here, and I still noticed that it shifted a little bit in when I was climbing hills and turning. This whole thing, like, I don't know, it's hard to see, but basically it was a little bit this way, you know. And I'm like, what the heck, what's going on, you know? And I started walking around in a trucker's fashion, scratching my head, thinking, like, I have plenty of chains for 64,000, but the problem was that this part. See, like, check this out, right? That's half of the machine. And that's a case when you have to use your thinking cap, right? The weight sits there, that thing did not move. And I had one chain in here pulling this way, and I had one chain going through pulling this way, right? And so I took that one off. I added these, you know, just because this is much nicer. So one on each corner, I have 2 chains pulling different directions. And of course, to do that, I had to climb in there, and thanks God that Captain Sergei is a very thin, fit looking individual. So I had to use that whole climb in there and stand on my knees and open those compartments. And the front one, that's where my short chains are, right? So I had to climb in there, and I can only raise that like by this much, and I was able to feel my way in there and grab a couple of chains, couple of binders, and so I had to redo everything, you know. And also this one, see, this one was connected over here, and that's not good, you know, because I always say that the shorter the chain, the better. So the chain, the connection must be as short as possible. So I couldn't put it in here, so this is the shortest. And again, I use them like, see, different directions, this way, and so this now pushes the machine into the timber, into the wood, so it cannot go anywhere. So this is much more secure than what I originally had. So basically 2 chains on each side of the contact that the machine has with the trailer, right? Because it would be useless to put chains somewhere here, because all the weight, that's where it can shift, right? Or either over here or over there. And so you make sure that those points of contact are secure, that it cannot move, you know. I remember when I was just starting trucking, I would put chains somewhere, you know, like in the middle, and then wait a second, what are we doing? Like, the blocks are here and here, and that's where you put your chains, right? And I did that, and that's the chain. This chain was in the front. And basically what I figured was happening is that, check this out, right? That's the last point of contact that the machine has with my trailer. And look how much metal is beyond there, right? Like, it's like half of the machine is sitting in the back. So no matter how many chains you put in here, it's not gonna hold all that mass from moving, right? And so that's why I did this. So like the front was not moving, so I took this chain. This is a 3/8 chain, so it's 6,400 pounds WLL, I believe, so it can hold 12,000, which is good but not too good. And I just sent it like that across. But this improved things, you know, nicely. But then the main thing, that's what I did, I put an extra chain on the very back, so this one pulling this way, this one pulling back. And after I did this, that's it, no more trouble. Each time I check and stop, it's exactly in the same position. But again, it's a tricky load, you know, like no load that loaded like this and weighs 64,400 pounds is easy, you know. Like at first I thought, hey, easy money, right? But you still need to think, you need to be creative. So again, check this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains, right? 6. 7. We already counted this one. 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 chains, and that's what was required, you know. And again, you see over here, I redid it. This one again was over there, so I made it as short as possible. And like I said, this flip axle was in the way, right? Because that rubber leg would be here, so it was not possible to load this machine without the flip axle. And so now I put my signs on, oversized load, because in Ohio, like most states don't care if you don't, you know, if your load is regular dimensions. Most states will not, like, I usually even don't put anything, but Ohio can be very strict. So I checked my that OS1 or whatever provisions sheet that you wanted to have in the truck on top of your permit, and I decided to put these on. So now I have the oversized load in the front, oversized in the back, because my trailer is over 53 feet with the flip axle, right? And Ohio does not say what's the legal length is for the truck and trailer. They only specify the trailer. And so if you're over 53, you're supposed to have some you know, oversized load sign. All right, let's go. I think my... Yeah, thanks. So we're good. we can go. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. I try to push this in, but you guys have no idea what you're talking about, you know? I can tell you that. Because these rings that I try to push them in, yeah, I bought this green stuff on them, but they're very hard, okay? They're very hard. You cannot compress them. So I try to push them with this weak index finger, then I use the plastic fork, but there's no way they're going in, okay? So the way they got out, this thing, when I was lowering the gooseneck, it just dragged them from out of there because there was a lot of pressure, right? And I guess they were dry. But to put them in, it's impossible. So either I'll have to figure out, maybe I see like there's holes in here. Maybe I can open this cover, but again, how do you push it through, you know? I don't know. I know that, yeah, they're not that critical, that, yeah, that mechanic was full of it, but I think they do serve a purpose, right? Like this one was sitting like this from day one, just, you know, not doing anything. It was always like this. But these ones, they were inside. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna go to, once I'm in Canada, I'm gonna call my dealer and see if it's covered under warranty or anything, because that's probably expensive, you know, to take that thing off. And all right, so I got water, bought some water, got more coffee. I had one of those Quest bars. Okay, what do we got? 38 minutes. See that? 38 minutes. Okay, so we are good to go. And this nice gentle beeping. So that's my average fuel economy now, 56 liters per 100 kilometers. I created this handy table over here. So liters on the left, miles per gallon US on the right. So 47 is 5 miles per gallon. So we have 56, so more, which means that my fuel economy is less than 5 right now. You know, and my gross weight now is 116. 116. Let me see. Yeah, I had 14.3 on the steers, 47.5 on the pusher and drives, and 54.6 on the trailer for the gross of 116,820. Okay, so the plan today is to reach Ohio. Let me show you. Where is it? What stop? I don't need. How did that happen? Funny. I didn't remove next stop. Alright, so now we have 400 kilometers, so 240 miles. And I think I put in like a Flying J. Yeah, it's too bright in there. But it's a Flying J at I-75 and I-70. You know? I forgot the name of the town. But... Alright, let's go. Well, I grabbed the reserved parking because there were only like a couple of spots left and I couldn't get into them. So this is a Flying J in Ohio. So parking was reserved parking right next to the building. It was 15 bucks, and that's what it looks like. The only problem is that my wheels are in the very end and I'm still sticking out pretty bad. So all these people coming out of the pumps, you know, they come very close to me, but I hope nobody hits me. And so I did quite good. I finished, I fulfilled my program. That's where I wanted to be. I looked up, possibilities for the end of the day parking, and there was a Love's. I definitely wanted to pass Cincinnati, because otherwise tomorrow is Monday, the traffic is going to be crazy. This way I went on the bypass, but I wanted to start Monday north of Cincinnati, right? So I don't have big. And so now I passed Cincinnati, I passed Dayton, and that area is very busy. And I only have like a few hours left to the border, so running on schedule. And so I'm gonna do the rest tomorrow. I'm gonna prepare my border crossing, and just to avoid possible delays, I'm gonna cross tomorrow night, probably like late afternoon, cross into Canada, and then I'll just need to find parking somewhere over there. So we'll see, or maybe I'll just park at that last Pilot on 69 if there will be spots, because it's not that big, like that's the problem with, especially when you have an oversized load, it's hard to back into a spot. Okay, I'm gonna go out and see if maybe I can move the truck a little bit more further down. I just don't like sleeping like this, sleeping in the truck and worrying that somebody during the night, some guy will be coming through the pumps and will hit me. But so far, so the trip is going, pretty smoothly, right? No problems with the permits. Everything was issued Friday. Now all I gotta do is just do the rest of the miles tomorrow, and they promised they will pay me with the ACH Monday before delivery, and the crane is scheduled for 8 a.m. Tuesday. So this is it. Thanks for watching. Be good.